I think now, without further ado, I've got to hand the stage to a moment you've all been waiting for. Please give a seriously huge welcome to the Deputy Prime Minister.
Thank you. Thank you. And Paul, you should let business in more often. I got a better round of applause from them than I did when I was a union rep here. But it's absolute pleasure to be here, and I'm absolutely delighted to be back at Congress House and to see so many of you in the room, and with so many friends and amazing businesses here. The people in this room drive world-leading innovation, invest billions in your communities, and champion this country on the world stage. So I want to say thank you, because you do all this while delivering the highest standards for working people. That's why 5 years on, from the launch of the Good Business Charter, it is going from strength to strength, proving that being pro-worker isn't a barrier to success, it's a launch pad to it. You know that as Deputy Prime Minister, the reason I get up in the morning is to deliver for working people. And I know that you believe that too, because we know that fairness for working people doesn't hold back growth and innovation, it drives it. And that's what I want to talk to you about today, because our plan for a stronger, fairer, more resilient economy has in part been written by your success story, with jobs that are well paid and secure, with new standards that are fit for the 21st century, and an unashamedly pro-business, pro-worker economy that harnesses the talents and the efforts of all its people and drives growth across the country. That's why this vision is backed by many of the best businesses. Businesses led by the likes of Julian and the 1,200 members of the Good Business Charter, from FTSE 100 companies to small and medium-sized enterprises, partnerships, councils, universities, charities and many others. And this thinking is precisely what is at the heart of the landmark new Employment Rights Bill. A bill that takes the very best standards from the very best businesses and extends it to millions of more workers. This new government has been clear. Better living standards is our #1 mission, and we'll succeed in our mission when working people can contribute to the growth and benefit fairly from it. That's precisely why, when I took up office, we promised the biggest upgrade in workers' rights in a generation, nothing less than a New Deal for working people. We said that we would introduce the bill to deliver that within 100 days, and we fulfilled the promise that we made to the British public. And there were those that said we couldn't do it, and there are those that says we shouldn't. But let's be clear, you know, and we know, that change was needed. Like millions of people, I started my working life on low pay and never sure if I'd be able to make ends meet by the end of the month. Over decades, the good, secure jobs that our parents and our grandparents could build a life on were replaced by low pay and insecure work. Wages flatlined, in-work poverty grew, growth and productivity was strangled. Doing nothing wasn't an option. And this is something that the Conservatives once recognised. When they commissioned Matthew Taylor to review employment practices in the modern economy, he made scores of policy recommendations to harness new technologies, tackle insecure work and the sluggish economic growth. Many of these were welcomed by you, the business community, who recognise that you succeed when work is fair, and many of these recommendations Labour supported too at the time. But now the Conservatives have turned their face against reform. They demand we drop our plans. Well, we reject that, because we believe that you cannot turn 14 years of failure around with more of the same. We're building a new route to prosperity, from the bottom up and the middle out, not the top down. And through our planning reforms that build the homes and the infrastructure people need, kick-starting a skills revolution, a modern industrial strategy and a plan to tackle inactivity, we are laying the foundations for growth. And we'll achieve this not despite the Employment Rights Bill, but because of it. Because it is not just the biggest upgrade to workers' rights for a generation, it's also an upgrade to our growth prospects and for business too, by levelling the playing field so that good employers aren't undercut, by giving over 10 million people around the country stronger protections, by improving well-being in the workplace. We'll boost productivity, put more money in people's pockets and power sustained economic growth. Our opponents say we can't afford to do this, but the truth is we can't afford not to do it, because the greatest risk to the economy is more of the same. And without our bill and for our plan for growth, over 1 million people would be stuck on 0-hour contracts with no chance of a stable income or a mortgage. Without our bill, more working days will be lost through ill health, costing businesses money. Without our bill, there will be more burdens on the taxpayer, because we know the cost of poor quality, insecure work is eventually footed by taxpayers, whether that's in higher welfare bills or through bigger costs to the NHS. Our Employment Rights Bill charts a new approach, one that sees growth in work security as two sides of the same coin. That shouldn't be controversial. When working people have guaranteed hours that they can depend on, when they're protected from dismissal without good reason, when they're supported with family-friendly rights, they have more control over their lives and are more productive, and they are happier and healthier. So as Julian said so powerfully, and as I've seen firsthand throughout my career, if you treat people well, you'll get the best out of them. And in developing this plan with my good friend Jonathan Reynolds, we met countless business, big and small. They welcomed our ambition, and what they told me was simple. Angela, when you raise the floor, it becomes a race to the top, with businesses outdoing each other to get the best talent. This bill delivers that by ensuring employers aren't given the green light to lower standards further, but instead are competing for quality and innovation. That's why we're putting in place those basic protections for everyone. And it's why we're enforcing those rights with a new Fair Work agency, and a proper enforcement body with proper backing will level the playing field and support those who do right by their staff. That is a platform for a fairer and stronger economy. And as Julian says, good businesses not only have nothing to fear from this higher bar all round, but everything to gain. And as Paul said, the polling from the think tank, the IPPR and the TUC has shown that overwhelming majority of managers and senior decision makers believe our reforms, including increased access to sick pay from day one and a ban on exploitative 0-hour contracts, will boost productivity. From the business world to trade unions, there's growing consensus that what's good for workers is good for business. And I couldn't agree more. But I know too that this will represent a big change. And I understand many of you want to work with the government to get the details right. And my commitment is absolute. That's why every step of the way we have engaged with business leaders. And where you have raised concerns, we've listened. That's why we introduced a probation period, because we want business to be able to hire with confidence while still extending new protections to workers. And we'll continue to do that in the weeks and the months ahead. Our partnership with you is fundamental to that. Because for me, as it is for many of you, this is personal. As a young mum facing low pay and insecure hours without much of a safety net, I saw firsthand how it can rob you of opportunities and hold back your ambition. And I saw too the consequences for people I grew up with and in the community that I grew up in. With hollowed out high streets, people left without the skills they need or the chance to provide for their families. That's why I believe so passionately that our plan to make work pay is needed. And it's why I believe that our message is clear. Labour were elected on a platform for change, and we meant it. And this bill is an enormous opportunity, a once-in-a-generation chance to reshape the world of work, to drive a race to the top on standards, and to build an economy that works for working people. So I say, let's deliver it. And thank you to everyone here, especially Julian and those leading the charge with the Good Business Charter, for all your efforts to make this happen and to build a fairer economy that we desperately need. You're the proof that we can do things differently, we can have great growth in this country that affects everybody, and we can have family-friendly working policies that means people can go to work, enjoy their work, and enjoy having a home life too. Thank you.